श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। अभ्रमं भङ्गरहितम् अजडं विमलं सदा आनन्दतीर्थमतलं भजेतापत्रयापहं नित्यासिद्धान्तदुद्ध्वान्त विध्वंसचक्षणः यदित्ताकितनिर्भासतां नो हृदम्बरे अर्थिकल्पितकल्पोऽयं प्रत्यत्यकेसरी व्यासतीर्थगुरुर्भूयात् अस्मदिष्टार्थसिद्धये तपो विद्यावृत्त्यादि सद्गुणोगाकराणं वादिराजगुरून् वन्दे हैग्रीपदाश्रयान् पूज्याय राघवेन्द्राय सत्यधर्मताय च भजताङ्कपुरुषाय नमतां कामधेनवे दुर्वादिध्वान्तरवे वैष्णवेन्दीवरेन्दवे श्रीराघवेन्द्रगुरवे नमो अत्यन्तायाळवे आपादमौलिपर्यन्तं गुरूणामाक्तिं स्मरेत् तेन विघ्नाः प्रणश्यन्ति सिद्धिं च मनोरथाः। हरिः ओं श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। We are doing the English session for Vishnu Sahasranama. Just recite the Rishi Devata Chandas and proceed. Asya Shri Vishnu Divya Sahasranama Stotra Mahamantrasya Shri Vedavyaso Bhagavan Rishi Anushtup Sandha Shri Mahavishnu Paramatma Shrimannarayano Devata Shri Lakshmi Narayana Prasada Siddhyate Jape Vinyogaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Vishwasmai Namaha. Om Vishwam Vishnur Vashatkaro Bhutabhavya Bhavat Prabhu Bhutakrut Bhutabrut Bhavo Bhutatma Bhutabhavanah Bhutatma Paramatma Cha Muktanam Paramagatihi Avya Purushasakshi Kshetragno Kshrayeva Yogo Yoga Vidam Neta Pradhana Purusheshwaraha Narasimha Pushriman Keshava Purushottamaha. So in the first sloka we are doing the last word. We did some meaning. Bhuta Bhavanaha. So this word Bhuta, we came across this word 5 times in this first sloka itself. So we saw some meanings for Bhuta Bhavanaha. So we'll continue with the other meanings for Bhuta Bhavanaha. So here Bhuta Bhavanaha. So we saw that Bhuta Bhavanaha basically from Gita sloka Buddhi, Jnanam, Asamoha, Kshama, Satyam, Damaha, Shamaha, Sukham, Dukkham, Bhavo, Abhavo, Bhayam cha Abhayameva cha Ahimsa, Samata, Tushtihi, Tapo, Danam, Yasho, Ayeshaha, Bhavanti, Bhava, Bhutana, Mattayeva, Prithagvidaha. So apart from Bhuta Bhavanaha, so Bhutanam, Sattikanam, Bhavam. So for Bhava means all these Bhavas are given. So all these Bhavas are the Jivas acquire these Bhavas. So that is what is mentioned here. So no, Shariram Midavapnoti Chapter. So that also we saw from Gita, and this also we saw from Gita. So this is all the Chetanas. They have this Buddhi, Jnana, Dharma, all these Dharmas. So each of these Bhavas, so Bhuta Bhavanaha, one who generates this Bhavane, so Buddhi Bhavane, he generates, so he is Bhuta Bhavana. Similarly, Jnana, so we actually went through what are the meanings for this Buddhi, Jnana, Asamoha, Kshama, forgivingness, and Satyam, truthfulness, Dhamma, Shama. So all these Bhavana, basically they're all mental dispositions. So these mental dispositions, they may have much deeper sense. For example, Satyam, if you take truthfulness, telling whatever as it is, the truth. But as you know, sometimes Satyam Vadet, Priyam Vadet, if something is hurt, if there is, by telling the truth, it can cause damage to somebody, then that's, causes damage to good people, then that truthfulness is not okay. So that Satyam is actually the truthfulness to protect the good people. So one of the examples people do is if there is some killers are chasing a good person and that good person hides somewhere, and if the killers come and ask you, should we speak the truth and tell, you can say, I don't know, that's also a lie. You say, I don't know where he is hiding, that's also a lie. Oh, let me not tell the lie, I have to tell the truth. So, okay, he is hiding there, people show, then those killers can kill that person. So there, the Satyam actually takes a different form. Satyam is that which is actually truthfulness, but if it hurts someone else, then that Satya Sthana is what you get in the place of the Satya, something that protects. So basically Satyam, because Satya, Dharma, these are all protective forces. So Dharmo Rakshate Rakshataha. So Dharma and Satya, they go together. So we have to speak Satya, that's our Dharma. But if Satya hurts somebody, then we have to speak something that saves people. So that is the real Dharma. So that Satya Dharma Nishta. So that's why when you say Ragana Sloka, we say Pujya Raghavendraya Satya Dharma Rataya. So not just Satya Rata, not just Dharma Rata, Satya Dharma Rata, they go together. So that Satya, when it is combined with Dharma, it becomes more meaningful. So there are deeper meanings for all these words, Satya, Dharma. So same way Dhamma, Indriya Nigraha. Indriya Nigraha has to come in a very natural fashion, just not like a Hatha Indriya Nigraha itself, but thinking the importance of them is not as much as we give importance to them. Only the required amount of importance is to be given to them. So that has to come in a natural way. So all these have a kind of a second and third and fourth level of meanings. So we have, but we didn't go into all that, which are basically the meanings of these words. And Bhuta Bhavana is one who gives this bhava, for all the pranis. That's why he is Bhuta Bhavana. Then another meaning is here Bhuta Bhavana is creator. So another is Bhuta Bhava na nayati. So Bhutanam Satvikanam Bhavam Nayati. So here Bhava is called as a bhakti. So which is not mentioned in the sloka, but it's a bhakti. Why it is now? Why it's separately told? Because the bhakti, it forms a basis for all that. For a buddhi, it should bhakti purvaka buddhi. Same way if you take a sukha, bhakti purvaka. So the bhakti is underlies all of them. That's why instead of listing along with all the rest of them, the bhakti is listed as a separate entity. Because that bhakti bhava is very important. So that's why bhuta bhava naha naiti bhutanam praninam satvikanam there. So because here that also another reason is that bhakti bhava is not there for all the pranis, because even the tamasikas, they don't get bhakti. So it's only satvikas who get the bhakti. So bhutanam satvika bhutanam. So that bhuta you have to have adhyahara. So bhutanam arthat satvika bhutanam satvika praninam bhakti bhavam bhaktim nayati iti bhuta bhavanaha. So that is the meaning that's there. And then bhavana, visa bhavana means is all three words. They are mentioned like in bhava meaning visa bhavana, in bhavaha, visa bhava means shushti sthiti samhara. That combined meaning samahara artha, that means bhavana is all three, shushti, sthiti and samhara. So bhutanam shushti sthiti samharatmakam bhavanam yasmat sah bhuta bhavanaha. So bhava sabdasya shushti sthiti samhara samudaya arthaha. So we saw that in bhavanama vakhyana. Then another is bhutanam. So bhutanam is akashadi bhuta padartha. So bhutanam akashadi bhutanam bhavaha shabda ashrayatvadayah dharmaha bhuta bhavaha tan nayati prapayati bhuta bhavanaha. What does it mean? For all the living beings, the panchabhutas are there: akasha, vayu and agni, jala and prithvi, panchatatvas. So and we see in Upanishads akashad vayu rajayata and vayoho agni rajayata, agnehe apo ajayata. So how from one bhuta another bhuta comes, srishti krama. So here they are, as they are created, how the bhutas are created means akasha, when it is created, akasha is avakasha pradatva. So that which gives a scope to stay, the bhuta akasha. Avyakruta akasha is present at all places, always eternally present. Bhuta akasha is created out of avyakruta akasha, and this bhuta akasha, it has the guna or tanmatra, we call pancha tanmatras, the five qualities: shabda, sparsha, rupa, rasa and gandha. Shabda means sound and sparsha is touch. So for five sense organs, the knowledge that we get, that sense organs are like input devices. So jnanendriyas we call them. That means we get certain type of jnana from each of these indriyas. For example, our pancha indriyas, from each indriya, the shabda indriya we hear through the ears, and then the sparsha, the touch, it is felt through the skin, and rupa we see through the eyes, the rasa, the taste, we do it through the tongue, and gandha, the smell, we do it through the nose. So these five sense organs, they have these 5 matters as tanmatras, but these tanmatras are the qualities of the Panchabhutas. For example, when first the space Akasha was created, Akasha is also given a guna, tanmatra. That's why it's called tanmatra. Tat miyate yasmatra tanmatra. For we when in the Akasha, the Shabda guna, it is one of the qualities of Akasha. That means the sound travels through the Akasha, the space. So whatever sound happens at some place, it travels through, like the electromagnetic waves of the sound. They travel through the space. So that sound traveling, it is happens to the space. So the space Akasha has the guna of the Shabda. So that, and when Akashat Vayu Rajayata, when Vayu was created, the wind or the air, it touches us. So Akasha, we cannot touch it, and it cannot touch us. So Akasha, we do not have the other qualities for Akasha. Akasha has only the Shabda guna. Akasha does not have Sparsha guna, and you cannot see the Akasha. Rupa guna is not there for Akasha, and you cannot taste Akasha. That means Rasa guna is not there for Akasha, and Gandha, the smell, you cannot smell Akasha, that guna. So other gunas are not there for Akasha. Only one guna is there. So that one guna is Shabda guna. And then when Vayu is created, it has the Shabda guna is there, and also because Vayu also needs space. So Vayu, internally it has space within it. So the Vayu Antargata space is present, and also Vayu is present inside the space. So Vayu and space, Vayu needs the space to exist. So the first Akasha is created, then Vayu is created, because everything else needs the space. So when Vayu is created, the sound can travel through Vayu also. So because it is present in space, the Shabda guna is there for Vayu, and also the Sparsha guna is there for Vayu. It touches us and we feel, oh, cool air, nice air. So we feel the guna of the Vayu, so that which is Sparsha. Sparsha guna is there in the Vayu. And it does not have Rupa, Rasa, Gandha. So we cannot see the Vayu, we cannot taste it, we cannot smell it. Of course, somebody can say, oh, why bad smell it gives? But the bad smell that we get or the good smell that we get is because of what the wind carries. The pure air doesn't have any of that. It carries the particles which have this, which are actually the Prithvi Tattvas or Jala Tattva. Cool moisture is there, we may feel it, and the temperature, the more the temperature you feel hot, the less the temperature you feel cold. So the Vayu has the, itself does not have Rupa, Rasa, Gandha. Then from Vayu, the fire is created, Tejas, and fire, as you know, it needs Vayu. Without Vayu, the fire cannot exist. So the fire needs oxygen. So the fire needs Vayu, and also the fire needs space. Fire has to exist in space. So the Vayu and Akasha Tattvas are present inside, in Sukshma form, inside the fire. So, and also the fire, you can see it. It is visible. So the fire has Rupa also. So it has 3 gunas. The fire has Shabda, Sparsha, and Rupa. So it touches you, you burn, you can feel the burn. So you feel that also. Touch also is available. So all 3 gunas are there for fire. And from fire up, the water element is created, water tattva, Jala tattva is created, and that Jala tattva, you can actually, the sound can travel through Jala, so the Shabda guna is there. The Jala, you can touch it can touch you, you can pour it, so you feel that presence of Jala Sparsha does it. So it has Sparsha guna is there, and then Rupa, you can see the water, and also you can drink the water. Fire you cannot drink, but water you can drink. So it's tastable. I mean, it's consumable. You can drink the water. So the Rasa guna is there, but the pure water doesn't have Gandha. Whatever Gandha is there, bad or good smell in water, it can happen because of the Prithvi Tattva that is present. It can be some bad substances there or good substances there. In that, it can give good or bad smell. So, but pure water does not have any smell. So no Gandha is there. So then from Jala Tattva, Prithvi Tattva is created, which has all 5 gunas. So all 5 gunas are present in Prithvi Tattva. So this is Srishti Krama. So Akasha, one by one, all these bhutas are created, and the Tanmatras are also created. These are all getting born or created from Tamasa Ahankara. And then in the Laya Krama, and the Abhimani Devatas go one into the other, and also the Tattvas also go one into the other. That means the Prithvi Tattva, what it does is the Prithvi Tattva, it loses its grossness and gets, once it loses the Prithvitva, the Ghanatva, the solidness, the grossness it loses, it gets absorbed and Sukshma form it goes and it gets into Jalatattva. And Jalatattva, when it loses its gross form, then in its own Sukshma form, along with the Tattva Abhimani Devatas, the Jalatattva gets absorbed into the fire or the Tejas Tattva. So Tejas Tattva loses its grossness, then it gets absorbed into Vayu Tattva. Vayu Tattva loses its grossness, it gets absorbed into Akasha Tattva. Then Akasha Tattva itself, Paramatma takes at the Samhara Kala, he makes it into Avyakruta Akasha, puts it back into the Mula Prakriti. Of course, that is also a kind of a space, but that space is Vikara Rahita space. So that space is all pervading space will be there. So all the Panchabhutas, they'll get destroyed at the Pralaya Kala. Sushti Kala, they get created, and this is, and also the Panchatattvas. So Paramatma Bhuta Bhavanaha is for this Panchabhutas, he gives the gunas, for Akasha Tattva, whatever guna we talked about, all these 5 gunas are given accordingly to all these 5 tattvas. And another thing that Paramatma does is Bhuta Bhavanaha, for this Pancha Bhutas, he gives not only these Panchatarmatra qualities, he gives the other qualities also. There are so many other qualities also. For example, for Akasha Tattva, along with the Shabda Ashrayatva, it has what is called Avakasha Pradatva. That means it gives scope, something, an object should exist. The Akasha gives scope. So giving Avakasha, giving the scope to exist for all the things, whether is solid objects, liquid objects, doesn't matter what kind of objects. So every bhautika padartha, for that to exist, the Akasha gives the Avakasha Pradatva. So that's why it's there. And then same way Vayu Tattva, along with that Sparsha Guna, it is given other Vati iti Vayu. Vayu means that which blows. So Vayu is moving, that which blows, that which moves, that which carries. So Vayu also, it carries light objects. So whatever light objects they like, dried leaves or thread or some particles or some floating, tiny dust particles. All these, they're carried, and even like a fragrance from the flower, smells and bad smell, good smells, everything is carried by the Vayu. So Vayu is like a carrier, it carries them all. So that guna also is present in Vayu, and Paramatma gave that guna, Bhuta Bhavanaha, that Bhuta Vayu, he gave those qualities also, those bhavas, those gunas also, the Lord gave them, so they have it. Same way, Tejas, the Agni, along with that, the Rupa is there, Rupa quality, Rupa guna is visible. Not only it's visible, it's Prakashana, it gives light. Not only it gives light, it gives heat. Not only it gives heat, can be used for cooking purposes. It has the ability to cook. When you put certain things like in vessels and that, the fire put underneath that, the padartha in that gets cooked. Okay, heat is there, it gets cooked. We normally take it for granted. But what, if the God gave, so that's why it's there. God can give, okay, let all heat be there, but let it not get cooked. God can do that if he does. But because he has given that guna, that making it cooked, that guna he has given for Tejas or Agni, so substances get cooked. So that's very important. And then all these gunas also are given by the Lord. Similarly, water. So when we drink water, you feel thirsty, and you drink water, you get rid of the thirst. So the Tapanivarakatva or Dahanivarakatva, that capacity is there for water. It can remove your thirst, and it also, sometimes you may not be thirsty, but you're normal, but you just want to sip a little bit of water. It gives you some satisfaction. Trupti Janakatva, because that means it gives you satisfaction. So that ability to give satisfaction also God gives. So whatever other qualities are there in water, those qualities are also given by the Lord. And similarly for Prithvi Tattva, like whatever Mannu and other things, for them, they have along with Rupa. So and also Gandha, the smell. You have that smell, good or bad smell. Along with that, you have what, like you take a mud and you can create some object, or you can take a wood, you can create some object out of it. So you can give shapes to it. So the shapeableness, that Murtatva, that means for solid objects, they have the scope to have space. So we can use shape to the solid objects. So the shapeability, the so-called shapeability is present in solid objects. So that is Prithvi Tattva, that quality. Those qualities are also given by Paramatma only. So this is how he gives all those qualities. And then there is another meaning. So what the Lord does is, he makes them all, Bhutani Bhavayati Vardhayati. He makes them grow. So the Bhutani means all kinds of pranis, living beings, and Vardhayati. So we make them exist, all that Rakshana and all that we saw. But suppose all the living beings, they exist, but we don't grow. That means whatever we are born, just remain at the same size as when we are born. It would be very difficult or strange. So the growth that comes in us, so Bhavayati, one of the things, Vardhayati, Vruddhav. So the Bhavayati, Vardhayati, that's another meaning for Bhuta Bhavanaha. So this is what I have to know. And then he's, Bhavayati means Prapayati. Bhutani Bhavayati Prapayati. That means all the living beings, he makes them reach. Reach where? Bhutani, living beings, Prapayati, Bhavayati, Prapayati. He makes the living beings reach. Reach where? Means Yogya Gatihi. Wherever they have to reach, that Yogya Gati, Yogya Sthana, proper place, he makes them reach. But we say, hey, but that is not there in the word. It says Bhuta Bhavanaha, Bhavayati, and means Prapayati, make them reach. Bhutani Bhavayati, makes the living beings reach. But why are you adding the Adhyahara Yogya Gati? Means that is actually is very, very common, and Shaka Brahmana. So we say, he's a Shaka Brahmana, or vegetable Brahmana. A vegetable Brahmana means, we mean, he likes vegetables, vegetable loving Brahmana. We said that loving is not there. So he's a vegetable Brahmana. Even in English we say, okay, he's a vegetable Brahmana. What we mean is, he is a Brahmana who likes vegetables. So we say he's a vegetable Brahmana. So by context, we know, vegetable Brahmana means one who likes vegetables, but it doesn't have likes or loves. But vegetable Brahmana is what else? He likes vegetables, that's why you're calling vegetable Brahmana. So by context, you guess the extra word that is needed. Same way, for all the living beings, he makes them reach. Means naturally makes them reach wherever they're supposed to reach. That's where, wherever they're supposed to reach, that's where he makes them reach. So it's automatically, that meaning can be understood. That meaning is implied. So that's why he Bhuta Bhavana, Bhutani Yogya Gatihi Bhavayati Prapayati. So that's another meaning. And then, see, all the living beings, he protecting, he making them exist, he make whatever Sushti Sthiti Laya, all that he is doing, and okay, he is doing that Vardhayati, that growth also is giving. But apart from that, what if, our so and so in Mukshasthana, we don't grow, there's no growth, and making them exist also okay, Muktasthana, already making exist is there. So in Mukti, what is done, what does the Lord do for the Mukta Jivas, Mukti? So in Muktisthana, or even here, everywhere, he makes the Bhuta Swabhavam Nayati, that means Swabhava Abhivyakti. Wherever that Swabhava has to manifest, the Swabhava, in Samsara Avastha, the way Bhuta, directly, the Swabhava Abhivyakti is not there in Samsara Avastha. Samsara Avastha, the only way the Swabhava is effective in samsara is, it operates through Linga, Aniruddha and Stula. So through Linga, the Prakasha comes, it goes to Aniruddha, through that Aniruddha Sharira, the Prakasha comes, it goes to Stula Sharira, and then Stula Sharira only functions. So the Karya Shakti is there only for Sthula Sharira. That's why this Aniruddha Sharira is called Sukshma Sharira. There is no Vyapara that is very obvious for that. And Linga Sharira also is not very obvious. And Swabhava Sharira is not at all obvious at all. So they are working only in a Sukshma form. So there is no Karya for them directly. Only the Sthula Sharira is doing all the Karyas, actions. That is why that Abhivyakti, Abhivyanjana, that means making the Swarupas of all the Jivas manifest, this is done by the Lord. In Samsara Avastha, it's done in a particular way. In Mukti Avastha, there are no Sthula Dehas at all. No Sthula Deha, no Aniruddha Sharira, no Linga Sharira. Only Swarupa Deha is there in Moksha. There the Lord makes the Jiva enjoy the inherent bliss or sorrow. That is why it is called Bhuta Bhavana, means Bhuta Bhavam. Bhavam means Swabhavam. Nayati, whatever is the inherent nature, that the Lord makes it manifest. That's why he is Bhuta Bhavana. And then another meaning is Bhuta Bhavana, Bhutatvam, Prabhutatvam, Purnatvam, Yatha Yogyam Bhavayati. So Bhuta means we saw Paramatma is Bhuta because he is Purna. Bhuta, the word means Purna. So Bhutatva is Purnatva, that he is Bhavayati. Bhavayati means we saw Prapayati. So that Purnatva, he makes the Jivas obtain the Purnatva. What is the Purnatva for Jivas? Moksha. That means he grants the moksha for the Jivas. So that is, so Prabhutatvam, Arthat, Mokshatvam, Purnatvam, their own completeness. The Lord grants Yatha Yogyam Bhavayati, as per their inherent abilities. The Lord gives that Bhuta, Prabhutatva, Purnatva. That means he makes them full in their own way. The fullness is not infiniteness for Jivas. He makes them full their own way. And then the questions that come here is like, we say Bhuta Bhavana. One of the questions that will come to our own mind is like, suppose, okay, God creates and he sustains and samhara karya. Why is this you need sustenance? Sthiti karya. You do Srushti, and then as long as you don't do samhara, automatically sthiti is there. They are there already. So for all the jivas, there is no need to do a separate sthiti karya. So Srushti karya is done. If samhara is not done for as long, whatever time, then samhara is done. So there is no need for sthiti karya. Do a Srushti, wait whatever time you want to wait, then do samhara. So in between Srushti and samhara, their sthiti is automatic. So why not? So why do we need a separate sthiti karya? So for that, we say, no, it's not enough that we exist enough. We have the poshana, that means you get energy, you move around. So the food that we eat, it gives us a poshana, the nourishment, nurturing, all that we talk about growth also, the growth, nourishment, nurturing, all this is done by the Lord. So this is the rakshana, sthiti karya. So sthiti karya doesn't mean just let it exist, but do all this, whatever sentient beings have to perform, do that also. That is how Srushti, Sthiti, Samhara, all three are needed. Sthiti karya is also needed. But then another question comes, what about for, for Chetanas, you say they make grow, nourishment, nurture. But for Jadas, there is no. So for Jadas, only Srushti and Samhara is enough. You don't need a Sthiti karya for Jadas. So this doubt also can come to our mind. But for Jada Padarthas also, remember, note that Srushti Sthiti means, what is Srushti? Whatever is non-existence, you bring it into existence, that is Srushti. What is Samhara? Whatever is in existence, you take it out of existence, that's Samhara. But after the Srushti is done, something came into existence, at that moment, so there is a Kala Lakshana is there, the time factor is there. Okay, it came into existence at a particular time. From that time to the next time, the existence has to continue. So the continuation of existence is also important. So this can happen only from the Ichha of the Bhagavan. So he says, okay, this object, the next fraction of a second, let it exist. Otherwise, every fraction of a second, it can just, disappear. So that doesn't happen. So he protects. Protects means the sthiti karya is nothing but making sure that they continue their existence from second to second, minute to minute, hour to hour, every segment of the time it is carried forward. So even for jadas, the sthiti karya is needed because of their transition from time to time. So from sushti kala to samhara kala, the in between sthiti kala, sthiti karya, both are needed for even the inert objects. So this way he does the sushti samhara for all the chetanas and achetanas, jada and chetana. For all of them, the Lord does this. So this is bhuta bhavanaha. In the next class, we'll see bhutatma. If any questions, feel free to ask. So I am concluding here. Sri Krishna arpanamastu. Kayena vacha manasendhirva buddhyatmana manaswam karomi idhi sakalam parasmai narayane samapya. Abhramam bhangarahitam ajadam vimnam sada anandatirthamatlam bhajetaptrayapaham मिथ्या सिद्धांत दुद्ध्वांत विध्वंसचक्षणः जयतीर्थागत निर्भासतां नो हृदंबरे अत्तिकल्पितकल्पोऽयं प्रत्युत्थितकेसरी व्यासतीर्थगुरुर्भूयाद् अस्मिष्टात् सिद्धये तपो विद्याविरक्त्यादि सद्गुणोगाकरानहं वादिराजगुरून् वन्दे हयग्रीपदाश्रयान् पूज्याय राघवेन्द्राय सत्यधर्मरताय च भजतां कल्पवृक्षाय नमतां कामधेनवे दुर्वादिध्वान्तरवये वैष्णवेन्दीवरेन्दवे श्रीराघवेन्द्रगुरुवे नमोऽत्यन्तेयाळवे आपादमौलिपर्यन्तं गुरूणामाप्तिं स्मरेत् तेन विघ्नाः प्रणश्यन्ति सिद्धिं च मनोरथाः. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. We are doing the English session for Vishnu Sahasranama. We'll do Rishi Devata Chandas and start. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Asya Sri Vishnu Divya Sahasranama Stotra Mahamantrasya Sri Veda Vyaso Bhagavan Rishi Anushtup Chandah Sri Mahavishnu Paramatma Shriman Narayano Devata Sri Lakshmi Narayana Prasad Siddhate Jape Viniyogaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. ओम विश्वस्मै नमः. ओम विश्वं विष्णुर् वषट्कारो भूतभव्य भवत्प्रभुः भूतकृत् भूतकृत् भावो भूतात्मा भूतभावनः भूतात्मा परमात्मा च मुक्तानां परमागतिः अव्ययपुरुषः साक्षी क्षेत्रज्ञोक्षरयेव च योगो योगविदां नेता प्रधानपुरुषेश्वरः नारसिंहो श्रीमान् केशवः पुरुषोत्तमः. So we finished the first verse. So विश्वं विष्णुः वषट्कारो भूतभव्य भवत्प्रभुः भूतकृत् भूतकृत् Bhava, Bhutatma, Bhuta Bhavana. Today we are doing Bhutatma. So this is the first name in the second sloka. Puta, the word Puta means Pavitra or sacred. And then Puta also means flawless, Nirdushta. That means has no flaws. So, and this meaning when we take Nirdushta, like dosha, what kind of doshas we can think of? Like there are multiple ways the doshas, the flaws that can be thought about is like in Gita Tatparya in one place from Mahavishnu Purana, Acharya quotes, what are all the doshas that we see in a jiva? Ordinary jiva will have certain type of flaws and those flaws are not there in Paramatma. What kind of flaws are there? So there it talks about for jivas, Alpashaktihi asarvajnam paratantyam apurnata upajivakatvam jivatvam ishatvam. So jivatvam there, that means we have to pass there, like jivatvam has all these flaws and then ishatvam tad viparyayaha. So swabhavikam tayoho etad na anyatha syat kathanchana. So what does it mean? The jiva has this kind of flaws. The Alpa Shakti is very limited power. So even like you take Chaturmukha Brahma, compared to Paramatma is limited only because everybody has limited power. Of course, Chaturmukha Brahma power is like, infinite times more than ours. Like we are nothing. But still, before Paramatma, again, Chaturmukha Brahma power is like very limited. So that's why Alpa Shakti or limited power is one of the characteristics of Jiva. And then Asarvagnam, Sarvagnya means knowing, Asarvagnam, that means Jiva doesn't know everything about Paramatma. So that omniscience is not there in Jiva. So that's a kind of a flaw. Omniscience is not there. And then Paratantram is Paratantra is like dependent on somebody else. That's Paratantya. So Paratantram is Paratantra. That means Para means someone else, Tantra means under the control. So Paratantra, the quality of being under someone else. So we are all, Para also means Sarvottama. So Paratantra, we are under the control of Paramatma. Para means Sarvottama, Para also means someone else. So the jivas are under the control of someone else. That someone else is nothing but the Paramatma. So the para has two different meanings. Para, Paramatma. So in both ways, both the meanings are applicable for jiva. So jivas are under the control of Paramatma. That's why Paratantras. Or the jivas are under the control of someone. Every jiva is under the control of someone else. That's Paramatma. That's why this Paratantra is a dosha and jiva. And then Apurnata. Apurnata, actually it comes in Chaturvida Nasha. We'll talk about it more detailed at that point. But Apurnata basically means Purnata is completeness or infiniteness. Apurnata is absence of infiniteness. So it's very limited. The limitedness, basically, Apurnata. So the jiva is limited. So it is limitedness is there for jiva. That Apurnata is there. And then Upajivakatva. The word Upajivakatva and Upajivya, this word comes frequently. So let us analyze that meaning of these words Upajivakatva and Upajivya. Jiva means living. Jivaka means the process of living. Upajivaka means under something else. So Upajivaka means one who lives depending, like a parasite. Every jiva is a parasite only. They are dependent upon Paramatma. So Upajivakatva is being alive, being existing. That means having the existence, having the life, which is controlled by someone else. So the life itself, the earlier previous controls talk about Paratantra and all is generally, activities controlling everything. But the very existence, so even though the jiva is anadi, the existence that Bhagavan did not create, but jiva exists because Paramatma says. So we hear about that in Bhagavata. Dravyam karma chakalascha swabhavo jiva evacha yad anugrahata santi nasanti yadupekshaya. So because of the Paramatma's anugraha, jiva is existing. That's why jiva is upajivaka. That means that which is dependent upon something else for its existence. That is called upajivaka. So upajivakatva is the quality of being upajivaka. This is a limitedness for the jiva. This is Alpa Shakti, like that. This is also a limitedness. This is a flaw. And Upajivyatva is opposite of which the words sound very similar. Upajivakatva and Upajivyatva. Upajivaka and Upajivya. They sound alike, but they give totally opposite meanings. Upajivya means other things are dependent upon it. So like that means the Paramatma is Upajivya because all the rest are all dependent upon him. They live, they exist depending on the Paramatma. That's why it is Upajivya. So that Upajivyatva is there for Paramatma. Upajivyatva is no flaw. Upajivakatva is a flaw. So jivas have, that's why I say Upajivakatva, that's why Upajivakatvam. Jivatvam, they're all jiva's qualities. Ishatvam, the Lord, he is tadviparyeyaha, that is opposite of that. Opposite of that means instead of Alpa Shakti, Paramatma has Ananta Shakti, infinite power. That's why he is Ananta Shakti, not Alpa Shakti. Opposite. And then Jiva has Asarvagnya, that means non-omniscience. Paramatma has Sarvagnya, that means omniscience. Opposite of Asarvagna is Sarvagna. Asarvagna means not knowing everything. Sarvagna is knowing everything. So Paramatma has Sarvagnya. So that is opposite of Asarvagnya. And then Paratantriya. Jiva has Paratantriya. Paramatma is opposite of Paratantriya means Swatantra. He is Swatantra. Tantra is control. Swatantra, he controls himself. That's why Swatantra. And is not Paratantra. Nobody else controls Paramatma. So his absence of Paratantriya or presence of Swatantriya are both the same. Paramatma has that. So that is a absence of dosha. So Paratantriya is a dosha. Paramatma does not have that dosha. And similarly Upajivakatva, opposite of that is Upajivyatva. Paramatma has Upajivyatva. Everything else is dependent upon him. So he has Upajivyatva. So then after we talk about this, it is not like for 1 day, 1 year, or 1 million years. So Paramatma has all these great qualities now, but maybe after zillions of years, will he lose that or something? Means no, because the Swatantra is there. That means he himself controls all these qualities. So that's why it is eternal. And not only the Jiva, will the Jiva become sometime will get that infinite quality? No. These qualities which are all listed for Jiva, they are at all times. That's why in Aham Brahmasmi Tattvamasi, the people say, okay, Jiva will no realize Brahma. It is all wrong, because here it says, Swabhavikam Tayoho Yetat na Anyatha Syat Kathanchana. This is inherent nature of Jivatma and Paramatma. So this is eternal. This is not like one day job or something and later you realize you become Paramatma. All that is nonsense, because it is eternal. Eternally Jiva is limited. Eternally Paramatma is unlimited. So this is an eternal thing. So this is one thing. And then in Gita Tatparya only, in a different place, we talk about, Nasha. Bhagavanta, Nasha is one of the biggest drawbacks, right? I mean, negative things, dosha. One of the biggest dosha is destruction. For us, destruction means we know only one kind of destruction. It just gets wiped off, it gets destroyed. Only one kind of destruction we know. But in Gita Tatparya, it is listed like Acharya quotes it actually from in Gita Tatparya actually he quotes it from, I think, see what he quotes it from. I think Mahavaraha Purana, it quotes this from the Varaha Purana. So that's where it quotes from. So basically what it is saying is the Jiva is having some kind of a destruction. Now we know that Jivas are eternal. Eternal means Nityas. So the four kinds of Nashas are Anityatvam, Dehahanihi, Dukkha Praptihi, Apurnata, Nashas Chaturvidha Proktah, Tad Abhavo Haresada, Tad Anyesham tu Sarvesham Nashaha Kechit Bhavantihi. That means, let's talk about this. Anityatva. This is actually Nityatva means eternal, eternally being present. Anityatva is not eternal. That means temporary. Anityatva, Ashashvata, both mean the same. Nitya means eternal. Anitya is non-eternal. That is temporary. So Nityatvam is a good thing to have. That means you are eternal. So absence of that, Anityatva means getting destroyed. That is the one that we know. Like, a pot is not eternal. So when the pot gets broken, we say, oh, the pot is broken. Because it is Anitya, so it got broken. So we see, oh, see, look at that. It's Anitya, that's why it's broke. It's not eternal. So Anityatva gives the scope for Swarupanasha. That means it gets destroyed completely. So this kind of a destruction is not there for any Jiva. No Jiva has Anityatva, because every Jiva has Nityatva. Though it is Swatantra, I mean, Jiva does not have Swatantra Nityatva. The Nityatva is dependent upon Paramatma. Still, the Jiva has Nityatva. Lakshmi has Nityatva. Paramatma has Nityatva. So everybody has Nityatva. So this Anityatva Rupa Nasha is not there for any Jiva. Anityatva Rupa Nasha is there only for Jada Padarthas like pot or even this whole universe. The universe gets destroyed during Mahapralaya. So universe also gets destroyed. So it is there, Anityatva Rupa Nasha. That means is there for all the objects in the world, including the world itself. But Jiva, Lakshmi, Paramatma, they are all Nityas. That is one kind of thing. Then Dehahanihi. So Dehahani means destruction of the body. It is there for all the Jivas, Samsaravastha Jivas. That means we get a body, that is a birth. Our death is nothing but destruction of the body. The body gets destroyed. We say, hey, died. So and so died. Died means what? It is a separation between body and the soul. That is the death. Their coming together is birth. Their separation is death. So Paramatma and Lakshmi, they are Nitya Muktas. So they do not have Deha, so they do not have Dehahani. They do not have physical body at all. So they never have Dehahani. So here, all the rest of samsara jivas have Dehahani, that means destruction of the body. Even the Mukta jivas, now they don't have Dehahani because they don't have Deha, physical body. But during samsara, at some point when they were in samsara, they had Dehahani. So at some point they had Dehahani. So this Dehahani is the property of all the jivas except Lakshmi and Narayana. So Lakshmi and Narayana, they are kind of alike in not having Dehahani. Destruction of the body, that's a body, that's a kind of an asha. That we can understand because the body is destroyed. Then Dukkha Prapti. Dukkha Prapti means you get a sorrow. So when there's a body is there, that is a bhasara. Samsara avastha, everybody gets a dukkha. So this Dukkha Prapti is there for all the jivas. Lakshmi and Narayana, they are Nitya Mukta, so they do not have Dukkha Prapti. So in that case, Lakshmi and Narayana both do not have this kind of an asha. Dukkha Prapti is a kind of an asha. And for jivas, what about Sukha Prarabdha only is there for Rujuva, Brahma, Vayu, Ruju, Gana? They do not have Dukkha Sparsha, so we say they have only Sukha Prarabdha. But even in case of Rujus, because they are so devoted to Paramatma, they want to obey the orders of Paramatma, Jiva has this Dukkha Prapti Lakshana, so they accept, like Chaturmukha Brahma, the highest. In Padavi also, like Vayu becomes Chaturmukha Brahma next time, but Chaturmukha, even as Chaturmukha Brahma, he accepts, we say Svikara, he did a Svikara, he accepts twice, 2 times Bhaya and 4 times Ajnana. So that means that Ajnana and Bhaya time, it's a very short time, but the Ajnana and Bhaya gives Dukkha. So the Dukkha Sparsha, they take it because they accept it. Though Paramatma gives them the freedom, or not exactly freedom, but the scope for having no Dukkha at all. But Paramatma again is as a Sankalpa, he is present inside them, Brahmani Brahmaruposa Shivarupe Sivesitha. So inside Paramatma, he gives a prerana to Brahma, making him think that, as a jiva I should accept sometimes at least Dukkha and, the Dukkha and Ajnana and Bhaya, which will give Dukkha. So he did that like that. So that is why even they have that Dukkha Prapti Rupanasha, they accepted it. They agreed for it, accepted it. That's why that also is there. So why Dukkha Prapti is called a Nasha or a destruction? Because there a kind of Sukha is destroyed, right? That's why Dukkha Prapti is considered as, it is a kind of a Nasha. Why Dukkha Prapti is a Nasha? Because our Sukha is destroyed. I mean, destroyed means the concept of Sukha itself is not there. It is removed. When the Sukha is there, that moment when Dukkha comes, that Sukha is destroyed. So it is a kind of a Nasha. And then the fourth, so even Lakshmi and Narayana are same there. All the rest have Dukkha Prapti. So then we say, hey, Lakshmi and Narayana, they look to be same in all the cases. But the fourth one is where Lakshmi and Narayana differ. And that's the only one. Paramatma, the Apurnata is non-completeness, absence of infiniteness. The absence of infiniteness is also a kind of an asha. And that kind of an asha is there only for ones other than Paramatma. Lakshmi also has Apurnata dosha, and by Kaimutyana Lakshmi herself has Apurnata dosha. All the rest also have Apurnata, incompleteness, non-infinity. Paramatma alone does not have this absence of infinity because he is infinite. Because he is Purna, the Apurnata dosha is not Apurna. Purna means infinite, complete. Apurnata means non-infinite or finiteness or incompleteness. So this Apurnata dosha is there for Lakshmi and all the jivas, but for Paramatma, Apurnata dosha is not there because he is Purna. Then Apurna, how is it a destruction? Why is that listed as a Nasha? What is the Nasha? Nasha is Purnatva is complete. When something is complete, though like Lakshmi is Apurna, though she does not have any Dukkha, the shortage of Sukha, that means the infiniteness is not there. So the infiniteness is a positive thing. That positivity is destroyed. So Nasha is, what is Nasha? Anything that is destroyed is Nasha. The positivity is that infiniteness, the positivity, that is destroyed, that is removed. That means it is prevented to, something is prevented, right? So that's why it's nasha. Nasha is nothing but prevention of something, or destruction of something, or not having something, or removing something. Any of that is destruction. So here is not, we can't talk about removing, because not that we had Purnatva or Lakshmi had Purnatva and is removed. That is not there, but prevented is there. That means never Lakshmi was Purna, never the Jivas were Purna, never the Jivas will be Purna. So they are prevented. So that way it is a Nasha. A prevention of a positive thing is also a Nasha. Nasha, why it is Nasha? Because removing a positive thing is a Nasha, one kind of Nasha. Preventing a positive thing is an, because suppose we say we want to take an object, we want to go and eat something. Somebody, no, you can't eat. We have not lost anything. So no, whatever he ate, it becomes ajirna, is a nasha. But we are not even allowed to. We wanted to eat. Nobody, they say, no, you can't eat. That is one kind of negative thing, right? I mean, we are prevented from that. So this kind of, that means somebody is prevented. All the rest are prevented from Purnatva. Paramatma alone has Purnatva at all times. That's why this Apurnata Rupa is called, Apurnata is called one kind of Nasha. That Nasha is there for all the Jivas, including Lakshmi, but that Nasha is not there for Paramatma. So that's why he alone is Chaturvidha Nasha Rahita. If we take Jivas, ordinary Jivas, they don't have one kind of Nasha, the first one, but they have all the other three kind of Nasha. If we take Lakshmi, she does not have first three kinds of Nasha, but she has the fourth kind of Nasha alone, Lakshmi has. So this way, the Jivas are different, Lakshmi is different, Paramatma are different. They kind of display different characteristics. So this is Paramatma, that's why Nashas Chaturvidha Proktaha, and Paramatma alone does not have any of the four Nashas, and that also it says that Anyesham tu Sarvesham Nashaha Kechit Bhavantihi. That means for all the rest, some kind of Nasha is there. Like Lakshmi, only one kind of Nasha. For all the Jivas, three kinds of Nasha. If we take Jada Padarthas, they have all four kinds of Nasha. Like a pot, it has a Anityatva is there. Oh no, sorry, not all four. If you take Jada Padarthas, they don't have Dukkha Prapti, but they have what you call the first and the fourth. Jada Padarthas, if you take, they have Anityatva Rupanasha and they have Apurnatva Rupanasha. Whereas they do not have Dehahani and Dukkha Prapti. Those are not there for Jada Padarthas because they don't obtain a body and they don't have a feelings. That's why they don't have two kinds. They have only two kinds of Nasha. That's why it says Kechid, some, everything has some kind of Nasha. Jada Padarthas has first and the fourth. Jivas have second, third and fourth kind of Nashas. Lakshmi has only fourth kind of Nasha. Jada Padarthas have only first and the fourth kind of Nasha. They don't have second and third kind of Nasha. So this is how all the ones have some kind of Nasha. So, and that's why Agnata Akhila Samvetuhu Gaditana Kutasna. So there are actually other places where like these things are explained further because Paramatma is Sarvajna, so he will not have avidya. Avidya is like ignorance. So because Paramatma is Sarvajna, he does not have avidya. And Prakriti Niyamaka, so Prakriti Samparka is there, so that's why he won't have other doshas like Kama, Krodha, whatever Prakriti Janya doshas. Prakriti Janya doshas are because of the contact with Prakriti. So Lakshmi is Niyamaka. So even Lakshmi does not have Prakriti Janya doshas. And Paramatma also does. Prakriti Janya doshas is Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya. The Arishad Varga is Prakriti Janya nashas. So this kind of a doshas are. So those doshas are not there for Paramatma. Those doshas are not there even for some of the Lakshmi also doesn't have those because she is also Prakriti Niyamaka. So Lakshmi also doesn't have those doshas. So this is how we perceive the differences. And then Mahopanishad and all, so this thing they describe. So let us talk about what Mahopanishad says. So Mahopanishad and all, they say he is Sarvadosh Sarvaguna Sampurnaha Sarvadosh Vesa. So there it says Varjitaha Sarvadoshaihi Yo Guna Sarva Samurtiman Swatantro Yadvashaha Sarve Savishnu Paramo Mataha. Mahopanishad says that. So Vishnu describes he is like Sarva Dosha Vivarjita. So the Veda says that. And then Brahmasutra Bhashya Acharya Achintyascha Tathaiva Doshaha Shutascha Na Agnaihi Tatha Pratitaha. So basically what it's saying is all the Shastras are there, whatever there, they are like, talking about the glory of the Paramatma only. Some people take the apparent meaning in the Vedas. The apparent meaning may describe that Paramatma has some kind of dosha. Like people say, Aham Brahmasmi Tattvamasi. The apparent meaning, it says, I am same as God. That's a dosha actually for Paramatma, because I am so limited. I am God means we are saying the God is limited. Because I am limited, God is limited. So that is wrong. That's why these statements, whichever attributes a dosha or a flaw to Paramatma in Vedic scriptures, those things have to be reinterpreted. We have to give alternate meaning for the Vedic statements so that Paramatma will never. So that means the basic rule is Paramatma does not have any flaw. If there is an apparent meaning either in Veda or Purana or Itihasa or anywhere, there is an apparent statement which looks like, say, or gives a meaning where Paramatma is having some dosha, that is only apparent meaning, wrong meaning, and that has to be rejected, because the rule, basic axiom rule is Paramatma does not have any flaw. So if any statement tells that Paramatma has a dosha, it has to be reinterpreted. So that's the thing. And then we saw that Atma means Deha, Atma also means mind. No, we saw that Atma means soul also. Atma also means body. Atma also means mind. So he is Puta Atma. Instead of saying Puta Atma, one who is Puta Atma as a Karmadhare Samasa. That means Puta Asma Yahasa Puta Atma. He himself is Puta Atma. That is one meaning. Or Puta Atma Asya Asti iti Puta Atma. That means Puta is sacred or flawless. Atma is body. Another meaning. Instead of saying he is a flawless soul, that is he himself is soul. Anya Vastu Pradhana is Bahurihi. If you take in Bahurihi, Bahurihi means Puta Atma Yasya Saha Puta Atma. Their Atma means body, one who has flawless body. Because in case of Paramatma, he does not take a separate body. His Swarupa itself is the body, even when he does Avatara. Rama, Rama, Krishna, and then Patsya, Kurma, Varaha, any Avatara you take, or Narasimha Avatara, or Kalki Avatara, any Avatara you take, in that Avatara, Paramatma comes with his own Gnanananda Atmaka Sharira. That means he does not acquire a physical body. He never gets a physical body. Even in Matsya Kurma, the body is not a physical body. The whole Matsya Sharira is Gnanananda Atmaka Sharira. That's why, we hear in the story, he comes, he talks and everything. The fish in the fish form, he talks. So because it's all Gnanananda, he does everything. So this Deha or the body for Paramatma is his own Swarupa. That's why if you say body, one who has a flawless body, that means his own Swarupa Deha is his physical body also. That means he does not have a Gunatmaka or Trigunatmaka or Panchabhutatmaka Sharira. He never has it. So that's why he is Nirdushta Deha Van. That means Puta Atma Yasya Saha. And then Atma also means mind. For God, for us, the body is different, mind is different, soul is different. We have all three layers are there. Whereas for Paramatma, his body is himself. His mind is himself. He does not have another mind, a different mind. His own self is his mind. So we have a Jada mind. So Paramatma, his mind is also Chetana mind. His body is a Chetana body. He does not take a separate body, separate mind. That's why we call Swagata Bheda Vivarjita. That means there is no difference between Paramatma and his body. There is no difference between Paramatma and his gunas. There is no difference between Paramatma and his manas. So this is another thing. Puta Atma Yasya Saha. That means one who has flawless mind. That's why it's called Puta Atma. That's also a Bahurihi Sammasa. So I think I'll pause it here so that I'll allow scope for asking questions. So people may have a lot of questions. So I'm pausing here. Sri Krishna Arpanamastu.